My name is Dan Graham. No, I was born in Illinois. I grew up in suburban New Jersey. I'm now here up in the mountain montañas. The title of the piece is Two-Way Mirror, Hedge Arabesque. As a divider between two curving sections, which are two-way mirror glass. It's a landscape piece. The hedge is the same material as the trees. Very carefully done. There used to be a flooding problem, but that was solved by Roman engineering. You know, the Romans, there's still Romans living here. Well, I've had a whole set of notes for pieces like that. There's two possibilities. The center could have been perforated metal, but I chose hedges. One side is an S-curve like this. The other side is half of a cylinder, two-way mirror. There's a small entrance so you can go in either side. In the center is a hedge. And what I like about hedges is from up close, from far up close, they're transparent, far away they're opaque. And two-way mirror glass is both transparent and reflective. And as the sun changes, either side becomes more reflective as against transparent. My piece is very important that it reflects not only the sky, but also the landscape, which are basically trees. Well, it began with my love of American painting of the 19th century. Dan Flavin turned me on to Bierstadt. My work really derives from Flavin in many ways. Ed Ruscha loves Bierstadt. You see, we had painters called the Luminists or Hudson River School. They were European to begin with. Bierstadt was Swiss. Thomas Cole was English. And they picked up the landscape tradition, but they came to America where everything was kind of wild open, and light became very important. Also, my work is about time. You have to walk around it and see everything change. And also, it's a play station for children and photo opportunity for parents. But I did a research in Italy. I wrote a long article in the Museum's Gardens Museum. And before I did this, I started in Genoa, went to Rome, and looked at the Mannerist Gardens. I've done a lot of research on gardens. The Renaissance gardens were first theme parks. They illustrated their political allegory and also poetic allegory. They had water features that were like Disney, like Disneyland. But they think they come out of the poetic tradition of allegory. That led to the French English garden, which was Hermanville was the most important example, and there everything was fake medieval, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau lived in a philosopher's hut where he died and was buried. But of course, I was also influenced by Mies van der Rohe. I did pavilions because I saw Mies van der Rohe, and his Barcelona pavilion was landscaped. But also Stowe was very important. And I think my work might be allegorical. I know it's fashionable to say everything is allegorical, but of course I love Walter Benjamin. Let's talk about the purpose of the piece. It's basically for children at play and also understand art. One side is concave and one is convex mirror, and boys like to see themselves enlarged like Superman, whereas girls like to dance, and older women want to see themselves thin. It's also very romantic. You're supposed to lie down. There are benches there, and it's you could say romantic, whatever that means. Also, the benches are very important because not only are young romantic couples here, but also older people hold hands. It's very important to hold hands. I started using two-way mirror in the 70s because Jimmy Carter, who was the first public figure interested in ecology, installed solar panels in the White House, and there was an oil crisis, so he wanted Americans not to consume, and two-way mirror glass. It was used in corporate buildings in hot climates because it would reflect the sun and cut down air conditioning costs. but it became surveillance, because that meant on the outside you could only see a mirror, and the inside you could look through transparently and not be seen. But also it's an alibi for the corporation, because the mirrored side reflects the sky. So it's an alibi. And many people think it's alienating material. What I do is I make it, since it has light on both sides, both transparent and reflective, and it becomes a heterotopia, a pleasure situation. The other reason for using hedges is going back to European gardens. The Baroque and the English garden had hedge labyrinths. My first work I did for Stuttgart International Garden Year was the hedge labyrinth, but then all corporate buildings became ellipses and curved, kind of curved. Certainly in the financial district of London, they're all ellipses. Oh, well, I'm wearing flowers. Flowers I don't understand. But I always liked to climb mountains when I was younger. Maybe because I'm a ram. In other words, I'm Aries, and that's a ram. And actually, the sheep when they're in the mountains are very free. When they're domesticated, they have a horrible life. But I like to eat lamb chops.